So, welcome everyone. My name is Edna White, and I have a great co host with me today, Melania
Hi.
Wilder. And I'm so glad that she is here. We're talking about today starting up and showing up. I'm going to help you to start up, get your mindset right about starting up on your business. She's going to help you show up. So it's all about being the presence, being, out there in social media, and everyone can do it. So we don't want you to think that you can't do it. We're here to show you that you can. So I'm going to give my esteemed guest or co-host today the spot just to introduce herself because you guys know me. So I'm gonna let her introduce her wonderfulness.
I love your introduction. Thank you. Hello, everybody. My name is Maylani Wilder. I am the CEO and Chief Designer of the Wilder Shop. We are a digital branding agency based out of Detroit, and we aim to help small businesses either establish or elevate themselves in the digital space. And that means not
Ooh,
only just social, but websites, Google, anything that you can find about a business, we help them do, as well as any like print materials and things. So we always love to help small businesses get to one place and really skyrocket and honestly achieve their goals to the point that they never thought were possible. So
ooh,
I'm just so
nice.
happy that Edna has invited me to be here to share my expertise. And I'm just so blessed that you all are here watching.
And let me tell you, I'm blessed as well. But I want to say that everything you just said, I just work with the mindset. Every explosive word she just used related to me. I work with the mindset. I help you get from one place to the other because a lot of times, and we were talking pre-show, a lot of times we get stuck. Like we get stuck in areas that we don't understand why we're stuck and why we're not moving forward. Well, I kind of help with that. I kind of dig in and find out what it really is about that you're thinking about or that you're replaying in your mind that keeps you stuck in the positions or the workspaces or just whatever you're going through, you're stuck there. So I help you be a better you anywhere. And I love all the explosive words she used. I love them all. I think I replicate them.
Yeah, absolutely. Take them.
I tell everybody I'm stealing. I'm stealing that. I'm tell you now. When you hear it again, I stole it. Yes, I'm telling you. So, so let's get started. I know that there's a few guests on here, and I know that we are streaming on YouTube. So we hopefully will get some questions from chat. We ask that you go through the entire PowerPoint with the both of us, and then there'll be a section at the end to ask any questions. And feel free to put your questions in the chat or raise your hand, and we will definitely let you shout out the question. All right. So let's get started on this journey of startup. And I'm going to be talking about crafting things. So I'm going to be talking about crafting your vision to embrace entrepreneurial dream. So my name is Edna White. As you know, I am the CEO of Second Chance Services Incorporated, where we provide a strategic plan for your life, for a better life, and for you to live your best life. So, what I do is talk to you about around the realm of your confidence. A lot of times we say that we have confidence. We are confident about this. We're confident about that. And the other day I heard this man tell me, no, I heard someone tonight, it wasn't a man, it was a woman. She said to me, stop believing. I said, huh? So like believing. Believing is the crux of everything we do, right? She said, no. No. Start to know. And I was like, oh, brilliant. Why didn't I think of that? So, what I'm going to do here is stop you from believing because sometimes we get caught up, like we get caught up in dreaming. We get caught up we start analyzing things too much and we get stuck there. And I want to get you to from dreaming to reality and to get to where you need to go, moving fast and forward. Okay. So, what the objectives here today is inspire you to embrace your entrepreneurial spirit. And all of us have it. Believe it or not, all of us have it, but we just haven't sparked it up. That's all. We're going to develop a clear and compelling vision for your business. And I'm going to help equip you with tools and techniques to for you and your passion. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do today. Just a little bit, not all of it, but just a little bit. Okay. So right now, I want you to share your most memorable entrepreneurial moment, whether it's small or whether like it's big. So my first one, I'll tell you, so you get a little snippet, was selling um, lemonade. I had my own lemonade stand at 9 years old. So tell me your smallest moment. You could put it in the chat, or I'll call on Melania because we can't call on everybody. So I'm going to use her to kind of like. But you can put yours in the chat box. So everyone, put your answer in the chat box.
That's
What
a
was
good
your?
question. I would probably say my most memorable would be being the second highest, I was almost the highest cookie seller in Girl Scouts. My family, we get very competitive about it. Now my daughter's actually a Girl Scout, so but I worked really hard and I was making sure that I had a strategy. I knew who I was going to ask, how
Okay.
we were going to do it, how we were going to deliver. I had a whole
Awesome.
system.
Awesome. That's cool. That's really good. That's a good one. So if you want to share your first memorable entrepreneurial moment, and it could be even when you're older, it could be then, but put it just let's just share it in the chat box with us. All right. I'm going to come back to that since Melania had shared hers. I'm going to come back. Okay. So again, I welcome myself. I introduce myself, all of that good stuff. I'm gonna go past that. It's important to have a strong vision in driving your entrepreneurial success. So when I saw someone selling the lemonade, and I tasted it, and it was nasty, right? So I said, "Hey, I could do that in a minute." I know people. I always thought every time I did something, I know people. So I always wanted to bring the product to them, because I know them and they would come and support me. I always said that. I always said, I know people. So right away, I was a networker right away when I was young. So I wasn't one to sit in the heat, sweating, selling the lemonade. I made the lemonade, and this is what I did. I had my entire family taste it. Taste how this taste. How does this taste? Not too good. They would tell me, they would be real honest with me, man. And my brother was brutally honest. It was like, it's sour. You left the pits in, all of this stuff. And I finally perfected it. So I stood there for about an hour. One or two people came. But I was like, I know everybody in that apartment building over there. Now, literally, the apartment building was like a step across the street. I lived in a predominantly Jewish neighborhood, very devout, and they used to pay me 50 cents to turn the lights on and off Friday, Saturday, and Sundays. Okay, so I knew that. I said, I'm going over there. So put the stand together, went on over there, had a little thing tray that looks like when you go into the restaurants, they had a little old back in the old days, they had a tray like that. And I walk in, and guess what, guys? I sell out. I sell out. Now, my strong vision was I'm gonna sell everything. What was my MSP? What was my MSP? Most what MSP is your most superpower. What was my superpower? Does anybody know what my superpower was?
Besides tenacity.
No, that was a character of mine, but what was my superpower?
Now I'm curious.
Knowing I had a network.
I love that.
Knowing I had a network. So when you're sitting and you're talking about your entrepreneurial success, what you want to be successful, how you want to be successful, you got to know. You got to know what it is, what your MSP is. I'm going to utilize that. Whatever my superpower is that I know that I can utilize, I'm going to utilize it. So a lot of us forget when we're thinking about our vision, we only see ourselves in the vision. We only see us standing there, but we can't do much without other people. So we have to start envisioning other people in the surroundings. A lot of what we experience, if we didn't visualize it, it's not going to happen. I visualized my car that I wanted. I visualized it. I felt it. I got in it, rode it, didn't pay for it for a year, but I came back and I had the money and I got it. Way less than what was selling for. But the fact was, we have to have vision, strong vision. And a lot of times, due to our past and things that happen with us and life kind of drains out, we lose our creativity. So, that time when you would envision you talking to your boyfriend, like when you was real young, and your mother wouldn't want you to have one, and you'd be like, "Oh, you're so cute," and you're giggling and everything. Well, guess what? That's creativity. That's imagination. And one day you ended up giggling like that, right? You started giggling like that. You had envisioned it. You made it possible. That's your strong vision is your driving force behind all what you do. How you visualize it is how it's going to come true. So I want you to start to think about what you're envisioning and how you're envisioning it. So here's another one that is so very important when you're envisioning things. Define your passion, and I'm going to ask you all this question: what is your passion? And I guarantee y'all going to give me all the same answer. What is your passion? And I'm going to go to Melania again. What is your passion?
It depends on the day. But I guess outside of music, I would definitely say web design for sure.
Okay. So that is a type of artistry. That is correct.
Hmm.
That's what your passion is. Your passion is not serving other people.
No.
It's never that. That's what we came here to do. All of us have it, whether it's good or bad. All of us have it. Okay, but our passion is what makes us light up, what makes us glow, what somebody else can do. But then you add, yeah, but I do it better. That when you do it, you get lost in time. And I know when I write, I get lost in time. It could be days. I'll be like, lots of times have forgotten to eat because I started writing, because I started dictating, because I started, typing away. It's because of that. I get lost in that because that's my passion. So you have to identify your deepest passion and your interests, especially when you start to go towards your entrepreneurial goal, because we look at too many shiny things around, and there's so many things that's coming up. Now AI is all the rave, and they got AI for everything. But we get so consumed with all that shiny stuff that we don't pay attention to our passion, our deepest passions, and our deepest interests, right? And we push those to the side, and then we say, "Oh, we'll do this." And whenever you're in the entrepreneurial space, you're always flipping and flopping. Because I've been there, flipping and flopping. I'll do this because I saw this person do it. Oh no, maybe I'll do this because they did it. But we don't listen to what the interest is saying. Saying, "No, do this." A lot of when you're turning from an employee to an entrepreneur, you are no longer running your business, and you're actually the CEO of your business. The CEO doesn't run the business. Mm-mm. The CEO is the face of the business and gets more business with its network and finding donations and sponsorships and pulling all those pieces together. He sets up people that can run it while he's doing all the other necessary work to make it grow, or he or she, I'm sorry. So Remember that when you're creating this, when you're switching, because when you want to run your, when you want to become an entrepreneur, it takes switching off that employee status. It takes turning that off because you're not going to get a paycheck like you used to get a paycheck. Right? You're gonna get that. You're not gonna get health insurance the same way you got everything is just a strategic plan. So you have to plan, just like you're setting up your business. When you go into setting it up, you set it up and you're getting your business certificate, you're getting your insurance, you're getting your licenses if you need some, you're getting your office, you're getting all the pieces that go to it to make it viable. Okay, just like you're doing all of that, the same way is when you're turning off employee to entrepreneurship. It takes a switch, a turn. Now we're going to identify your purpose. So we said something about your passion, right? We said something about that, right? Now we're going to talk about your purpose. And your purpose can look different. And I found this to be true living. That your purpose can actually change over time from one 10-year spat or 5-year spat to another. It's not all the same, but it's the same passion. It's the purpose is always different. You could be different, not always different, but could be different. All right. So we have to identify what our purpose is. And so that can fuel, because our passion has always been there. It's always been there. So the passion is the one that fuels the purpose is what fuels the passion, so that you can get into the vein of entrepreneurship or get into the vein of what you're going to do. Because if you stay in your passion, you'll want to help everybody. And have you ever heard the saying, if I want to serve everybody, I serve no one, right? So in entrepreneurship, you have to have a focus, right? You have to focus in on who your niche is, who you serving. You know, when kind of not like Burger King or anything like that, but I would say, when Coke came out, and I'm telling my age a little bit, but when Coke came out, they had it in bottles, and I'm not that old though, but they had it in bottles, right? But each type of soda was dedicated to a genre of people. So when Sprite came out, Sprite was dedicated to everyone that watched basketball, everybody that watched the sport. It was dedicated to sports. Coke was more or less for camping, hanging out with the family. So why am I saying all of this? The purpose, even though Coke has, I mean, not Coke, is it Coke? Yeah, Coca-Cola Company, right? That's the brand, right? Even though they're under Coca-Cola, they have so many other branches under, right? Different brands, right? Different sodas. But each one has a purpose. Like you may be doing a project. Okay, let's think about maybe let's think about I'm doing a museum tour with my books. So that's something with a purpose. What's my purpose there? What am I doing this for? I am literally doing it to teach people to write their own books, right? To go from journaling to a book. So I'm doing a workshop within each of these areas, right? So they can become history like the museums are, right? That's my goal. It's a purpose. So when you're endeavoring in something, make sure you know what the purpose is. And some people call it the why, but make sure you have that purpose. What's the purpose of me doing this? Am I doing it because I hate my job? Well, it's not going to be sustainable if you have the wrong purpose. So make sure you have a purpose on why you're doing what you're doing, because the purpose is what fuels it. If you line up with the right purpose, you'll fuel that passion, and boom, 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 everything you do comes up gold every time. Make sure you have the right intentions when you're doing it. Don't just do it because somebody else wants to do it. Or, when you start your business, one important factor that you do is, I'm going to suss out do research around this whole thing. Okay, how many people do what I do in my area? right? I'm going to do that. How far are they from me? Or you do your research so you know your competitors, because that's important to know. They're competitors in a way, but they're not competitors. But to know them is important, because guess what? You might just end up working with them one day and say, hey, they might even sell their business to you. But knowing and having that research is so important. That's part of that purpose, is what am I really doing this for? Who am I going to affect? Is it community? Is it somebody that needs me? What am I doing this for? Okay. Again, going back to visualizing your success. What does it look like? We can write it out. Okay, my success looks like 6 clients per month. I want this amount of money, but can you visualize it? Can you really visualize how it looks? I can tell you what mine looks like, that I'm on a beach and I look up and, oh, it's 6 o'clock. I have a client. Let me go over here, put my hotspot on and sit back and talk to my client. That's what success looks like to me. You have to visualize what you're doing, because if it's not in here playing, other things are going to play. So it's all about the mindset. It's switching off all those things that are negative, because we've been feeding ourselves so long on the negative stuff. So we don't want to do that. Okay. So create a vivid mental image of your business. Just like they say to do a vision board. Sometimes a vision board is great, but it's not enough until you act like that 5-year-old kid who's playing with an invisible friend, to say, okay, this is what I want. I want to be doing this. And you break it down. You break it down, because what you speak comes true. What you believe and know comes true. But you have to be able to vividly have it in your mind. Okay. Here's another good one for your business. Create a concise and inspiring vision statement that captures everyone's aspirations. So we're here in this world to inspire other people. That's what we're here for. To inspire them, motivate ourselves, inspire them to be the best they can be. That's what we're here for. Okay? So we have to have an inspiring vision. What's our vision statement? For every one of my 32 books, there was a vision statement written. What's the vision for this? Why am I doing this? What is it? Who is it for? I made a vision statement for it. Just as your business, what's your vision statement? And make it broad and like big. Say, I want to be able to affect the world one person at a time. Include the world in it. Don't disqualify the world. Don't just stay on Long Island. I want to be worldwide. I want to be global. Include that in your vision, because that's really captures all of the essence of who you are and what you're going to be doing. Now, why am I saying all this wonderful stuff? Because of who I am. Now, if you all are on today, this is what I do in my regular practice, right? I am going to offer everyone on here, including those on YouTube, so you guys better listen. Okay? Pay attention. Just today and up to September 30th of 2024. September 30th, 2024. I am offering a 3-month entrepreneurial mastermind. And it's $900 on a regular, right? But I'm only taking a few clients. But for today only, I'm doing it for $870 for all 3 months. For all 3 months. That's really great, right? It's really great. But I'm going to cut out the mastermind part, and I'm going to go 1-to-1 with you. You'll get me in all my glory, access to me 3 times a month, right? 3 times a month. And then you will be able to have email access to me. You will be able to have access to my library of all my ebooks for self-improvement. That's what you get. And that's what I do. I give you a strategy plan on our first meeting. It only takes 30 minutes. And I give you a strategy plan on what you can do with your business and how to get it out in front of everybody. a different way, in your way, not in anyone else's way, but in your way, how you can effectively do that. All right, enough about me. So, how are you going to fuel your entrepreneurial spirit? You're going to overcome challenges. That's number one. Okay. I talked with Melania earlier, pre-show, about the four pillars in our lives, and we often worry about those. And if those things are not together, which is finances, social, right, mental and physical, if those things are not together, we kind of wobble a little bit. If one's a little bit off, we kind of wobble, right? So we want to be able to overcome these challenges. And that's all they are. They're challenges because we've been in these places before. We just forgot. We've been in those situations before without, having to, pull money from here. We just forgot. And we used our own powers and own resilience and overcome them. So I'm going to remind you today, if there's cash flow issues, you can overcome them. There's ways that you can get around that. There's resources for that. That's what we are here for. Melania and I are here to give you those. There's limited time and resources. People always tell me all the time, I don't have that much time in the day. Everyone has the same time. Time management is definitely necessary, right? And then there's this uncertainty and risk. When you're transferring from an employee to an entrepreneur, you get kind of afraid. There's this risk. I don't have insurance, don't have a daily check. I don't know what to do, right? We don't know what to do. You want to be present and you want to be able to be in your passion with a purpose and create a profit, right? You want to be able to do those things. But because those things come up, those challenges, you don't do them. Well, we're here to tell you you can do it because all it takes is just a plan, a complete sitting down with a plan and knowing what you want to do. And that's all it takes. See, here we go. Create a comprehensive financial plan. It has budgeting in it, it has forecasting, and it has contingencies to plan. So when it says contingencies, is what if something happens? We don't do those things. We have a great idea, and it is great. But in order to be successful and sustainable, we have to sit down and worry about our budgets. What is that? How does it look like? On a daily basis, what does it look like? Forecasting. What am I going to need down the road? All those things. We have to create a financial plan. Oh, this is a good one. This is one I hated, but we have to prioritize and delegate. I hated that. I kicked and bucked against this with my own coach, and he was telling me you need to delegate these things. And I was like, no one can do it like I can because this is my baby. Well, after hemming and hawing and clicking and saying, hey, I'm paying this guy a lot of money to tell me what to do, and I'm fighting him. That's really silly. So it was really silly. And I finally did it. And it was the best thing I ever did. I will never go back to not delegating things. Now I'm like trying to find out or figure out what I need to do with my spare time. I don't have nothing to do because I've delegated it all to people that can do it, and now I got to find things to do. So delegating and automating is so important. Melania and I talked about our automation. This is all in the strategic plan is automating your life, recording things, creating courses and automating it so that it's making money for you at nighttime. You're not there. You're sleeping. It's automating things. And really it just takes a plan. So I want you to embrace your growth mindset because you're going to learn from your failures because growth mindset embraces all of those things. This is what you need to be when you become from employee to an entrepreneur because an employee grows something for somebody else. As an entrepreneur, you grow for yourself. So you have to learn from the failures. They're just learning tools. I can't tell you how many times I changed my LinkedIn. I can't tell you because I stopped counting because I needed to get it right. And I didn't care if people didn't understand what I was doing because I needed to understand. Now I'm completely happy about it. What I'm doing, I am totally in the vein, totally moving forward. I'm happy. Those are setbacks. Those are things that you learn from. The experiences they're not just failures, they're opportunities. I got to look at them like that. Why isn't this happening? Oh, let me look at this. Again, stopping and figuring out what it is, stopping and planning on it. What am I doing? What's happening here? Why didn't this work? And seeing what was wrong. Adaptability. Be prepared to adapt and pivot. You know how basketball players pivot yourself and be able to adjust your business plan, if you need it. If you need it, you need to do that so that you can have that. And that resilience is always important. Develop a bounce back attitude. Yes, it may take me a minute. Okay, I usually am great. I'm okay right now. I'm going to bounce back. I'm going to bounce back. Sometimes you have those okay moments. You're going to have them as entrepreneurs, but you bounce back. Okay, enough of that. I always say, if you're going to cry, cry with an agenda. If you're going to get upset, be upset with an agenda. What am I crying for? Okay, I'm crying because I'm mad and da 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 and this and that. Now, what are you going to do after that? Are you going to go back to the same spot that you were in before that made you cry? Or are you going to go forward or move to a different position? What are you going to do with that? What are you going to do with the information now? So cry with agenda. Be resilient, okay? So all of this, I want you to think about because this is how you start up. This is how you really start up. It's the fire that really starts you as an entrepreneur. It's the fire that keeps you moving. These are the things in your mindset, in your heart, in your soul that really keep you moving. So I want you to get into action. Take what we're saying today, get into action. If you need us for anything, listen, we got resources beyond resources, the both of us. We got it. We got it. You want an ebook? We got it. We got it for you. You want to get charged up? You may not be able to afford us right now. Okay, but don't say no. Say yes, because we got something for you to help you. We want to see people succeed. We want to see you be successful. As we are, as CEOs in our own lives and our businesses, we want to see you do the same thing. So take action today. Don't put it to the side. Take one small step. And you know what? Let's just say you're thinking about starting a business. Okay, got to think about it. You're thinking of starting it. Okay, so now you thought about it. That was your first step. Now, what's your next step after that? Thinking about it. Get a name for it. Just get a name and put it there. You don't have to do anything else. Just make the name up. That's the name. You made one step closer to your business. Taking action is what we want you to do today. Okay? So, I know there's time for like questions and all that good stuff. But if you have a question, stick it in a box because I like to be on time and I'm waiting to hear what Melania's got to say. So I know you guys are ready for it. You heard what I had to say. If you have any questions, I want you to put them in the box. Okay. But now I'm going to allow my co-host to come in and literally, start the part of what she's doing. But thank you all. I appreciate you. And again, if you have any questions, please put them in the box.
I apologize in advance to everybody. Somebody is doing landscaping next door, so that's why I was muted. But hello everybody again. My part is the showing up on digital. So before I even get started on anything, the biggest thing that I drive in my business is making sure that people stay consistent online, because when it comes to digital, it can be a beast, especially if you're a solopreneur or have a small team, because of the fact that there's so many tasks that you have to do, and it's kind of like, how do you do it? What are you supposed to do? So today I'm going to take you step by step before you get to the digital and when you're establishing yourself to the digital and making sure that you can succeed. Okay. For whatever reason, I can't advance. That's okay. There we go. Nope, there's the, okay. Could you hit the next one for me, please? Thank you. That's all. I did this in Canva, so I want to apologize right now because all this alignment seems to already be up, but it's okay. Adaptability. We were just talking about this. So, what we're doing today is we are showing up confidently online. So, we're going to be talking about how to properly build your brand online and show up consistently to your target audience. Now, when I talk about your target audience, we're going to talk a little bit more about why that's important before you even get to the digital space. Because if you have a message and you have a great brand, it means nothing if you don't know who you're talking to. So, next slide. So what we're going to cover today is before we're going digital, things that we need to talk about before we're even hitting the stage. Before we're hitting the stage, and when I say the stage, I mean the digital platforms, your website, your social media, your Google My Business, Twitter, all of that. Secondly, we're going to be talking about a pre-launch checklist, so different elements that you need in your brand visually that will help set you up for success. The third thing that we're going to be talking about are the cheapest platforms website wise, because when I say I like to help small businesses, I like to help people who are on a budget. I understand that, especially when you're first starting out or you're very small, there may not be a whole lot of funds or little to nothing. So please know that any of these different tips and things that I am providing are going to be little to no cost to you as an entrepreneur. So please keep that in mind. Screenshot. I can't drive this home enough. The fourth thing is going to be social media. And then the last thing is just going to be some tools for automation. Next slide. A little bit about us. Like I said before, we're a branding agency based out of Detroit. We aim to create, elevate, and maintain small businesses in the digital space. We offer services in websites, graphic design, social media management, as well as digital products for business owners. So, like I said, if you can't afford them services, we've got digital products that are going to help set you up for success. And we're here today to do some tips and tools. So let's get started. So, what is digital branding? So, when we're talking about establishing yourself online, we're talking about branding. And when you're talking about branding, that means what the visuals are and what are the brand's message, what is the brand's tones, how are you how are you interacting with that brand? Because when you're thinking of big brands like Google or Apple, when you're looking at their logos, you know that that's their brand because they have trained you to do so with their branding, with their messages, how they're approaching their customers, even down to I like to use like even Wendy's. They do such a great job with their tone of voice and making it sure it's consistent across the page. And that's all under the umbrella of digital branding. So, digital branding, as you see, is the process of creating and maintaining a strong online presence in your business. It's about getting people to know who you are, what you do, and why they should use your services or your products. As more people spend time online more than ever, having a strong digital presence is absolutely essential. Next slide. So, before we even get to the digital space, there are four things that we need to focus on. The first one, knowing your target audience, or if you've heard, avatar. So, knowing when it comes to your target audience, let's say you do have a basic idea, this is what your brand is going to be, this is the name, this is your mission, these are your products, these are your services. But who are you talking to? You have to make a target audience or an avatar getting down to the nitty gritty of the demographics. Who is that person? Is it their male? Are they female? Are they non-binary? What are their ages? Where do they live? How much do they make? What type of work do they do, if they do work at all? Because maybe you want to appeal to moms who don't are stay-at-home moms. That's actually something that's part of our new target audience. When you know who you're talking to, you can better craft your message to reach them. So that goes into number two, to be clear on your brand message, your brand voice, and your brand identity. Because if you don't know who you are, how do you expect your audience to know who you are and to be able to continue and have trust within your brand? The third thing is discovering your brand's keywords and your brand's hashtags. Now, this is very vital to SEO. And if you don't know what SEO is, that is search engine optimization, which means how your brand is interacting online and how you're being found on searches like Google, Yahoo, and those guys. Having brand keywords are very essential, especially when you get to the web content and your social media content, because the more that you are embedding your brand keywords, your brand hashtags, and making them consistent throughout all of your messaging, the more that your messages are going to be combining on Google. It builds your trust and your credibility. It raises the score of your authority for your website, and it builds more trust within your brand. And the fourth thing, as Edna had touched on before, was researching your competition. Now, when we talk about researching competition, it's always good to take this with a grain of salt, because while, yes, you are always going to have competitors, it's not like, no one else is going to be doing what you do. However, they're not going to be doing it like you. So you need to keep in mind that while they are your competitors, you don't need to have the mindset of, I have to do what they're doing, or I have to keep up with the Joneses. Absolutely not. We're only researching our competitors to know what they're already doing and what is successful, so that either one, we can try and spin it, or do something even better. And also knowing who else is in your demographic competition wise, because like Edna said, you could partner with them. There may be services that you might not necessarily be able to even offer that you notice your competitor does. And there are things that you could say to that CEO or whoever, if you decide to make a partnership with them, like, hey, I would love to outsource these type of services to you, and vice versa. So there's wonderful things when it comes to researching competition. So don't always look at it as a negative. Next slide. Pre-launch checklist. So when it comes to branding, one thing that I'm going to keep saying this to the cows come home, you have to be consistent. Now, when I talk about consistency, I mean having the same look, the same colors, the same fonts. Because if a person is going and looking at your page and they're seeing that you're absolutely all over the place because you found this really cute design that you liked on Canva, or you saw this other cute little thing that you wanted and you just threw it all together, it doesn't look professional, and it's going to put your brand in a bad light. So here is a couple things that you need to have in your branding toolkit before we even get onto the basics of your digital platform. Colors and fonts. Establish 2 to 3 main colors. And I say 2 to 3 because I'm thinking of, like, for us, as you see, our main colors are purple, yellow, and red. You're going to see them throughout the entire presentation. We also have 2 accent colors, black and blue. Sometimes I throw in a little bit of white because, white goes with everything and things like that. However, I've trained my audience to know when they see that purple, they see that red, they see that yellow, they know that's the Wilder Shop. And that is what you aim to do with your business as well. Establish at least one header title font and one subheader / body text. And make sure that if you are pairing your fonts together, if you have one that has little curlies on, with lettering, make sure that that second font is completely straight. Because one thing that you don't want to do is to look unprofessional, and to look juvenile on page. Because, while you might think that that font looks absolutely gorgeous, it might make you look like you're 12. So let's be big girls and big boys, and let's make sure that we're showing up as professional as possible, down to the last details, especially with the colors and fonts. And when it comes to coloring, please keep in mind that certain colors do not do well on certain platforms, which is why I say have 2 to 3 main colors. Like, take ours, for example, the purple and the yellow and the red. As much as I love that yellow, I don't use it as much because it doesn't show up as well on certain screens. So you'll see it more so pulled back as an accent. Because if you went to the Wilder shop and you saw the entire page was white or black and then it's a whole bunch of yellow coloring, you're not going to like that, and that's going to be off-putting. So make sure that when you're picking your colors, not only is it going to be appealing to your eye, but also to your audience. And that's why it's very important to know who you're even talking to. When you're going into our logos, making sure that your logo is easy to recognize and relevant to your brand. Now, when I recommend, especially for solopreneurs who can't necessarily afford services to hire out, even though Fiverr, Fiverr, they have some very, very affordable contractors that can help you with logo creation. But if it's still an issue with finances, I do want to tell people that if you decide to use a tool like Canva, if you decide later on down the road that you want to trademark your logo, you're not going to be able to due to Canva's copyright laws. So please keep that in mind, because I've had multiple clients who have built their, beautiful logos on Canva, and then they're going to further scale their business and they're going to have to rebrand everything all over again because of the fact that they use certain elements in that designer. Also, your pre-checklist, your website, and your social media. Now, these two I'm going to put hand in hand because they literally go hand in hand, because everybody needs a website, and I'm going to say it, and if you follow me on social media, I'm going to say it every single video. Every brand needs a website, even if it is just a basic landing page giving basic information that is updated about services and products and your contact information, because your website is going to be the basic hub that you're going to use as the information that will help spread out about your business. And you use social media as a vehicle to help drive traffic to that website and to keep that website traffic up. Because lots of businesses will tell me, oh, we don't get any traffic to our website, so we just don't use it. But how are you driving traffic to your website is the question, because your website is only going to work for you if you are pouring into it. You can't just make it and then just expect it to do something. Even if you have wonderful keywords and everything, you still have to keep it up. You still have to nurture it. It's like a child. Same thing with your social medias. You can't ignore them, or they're just going to just go into the abyss, and then it's just going to be like, what's going on? And you're going to say, oh, I spent all this money on something, but you didn't put anything towards it. So before you go to the, okay, well, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to do it? Let's get to this next slide. So easy platforms when it comes to websites. So I'm going to go websites, then our social. Like I said, these two go hand in hand. If you are not a coder, like, you've never done any type of HTML, MySpace, none of those guys, my recommendation is to go to Wix. It will always be to go to Wix, because Wix has not only a very easy SEO hookup in the dashboard, because it allows you to hook up to your Google Analytics. They walk you step by step. They help you with inputting your brand keywords, labeling all of these things, so okay, this is why this is important. This is why this is important. Wix is beautiful for beginners. They also have the most versatility when it comes to designing. While I love the other three that are on the page, if you are not somebody who does designing for a living, nor have patience to worry about trying to put your website up, the other three might not be your speed. Squarespace is where the Wilder Shop actually hosts our website. They have very sophisticated website templates, great marketing tools that connect with your social media. Because when I say with your website, driving traffic to it is a must. And Squarespace and Wix have great integrations where you can actually make posts that are consistent with your branding on your website and then post them to your social media. So Squarespace, I absolutely love, though, because it just seems it's a lot more of a seamless process. But Wix is also, they do have some great stuff. But when I say Wix is better for when you're designing and it's just the beginning, that's where we go. For GoDaddy, I only recommend GoDaddy if you have a basic page. Like you just need a one page. Here's our logo. This is a little bit about us, some frequently asked questions, something very simple. Because GoDaddy is very restrictive as to how they let you design. They do have very affordable domains. So you could, let's say you wanted to have a website at possibly like a .com. You could get your domain for $11.99 for the entire year. And I want to also recommend when you buy yourself a domain, please buy the protection that goes along with it. It is an additional $9.99 depending on, GoDaddy is usually where I go. So $9.99 for that protection, maybe $11.99 if you upgrade it. But it's completely worth it because it protects your information from bots and from people who are trying to steal and trying to poach you when it comes to domains. Because especially if you have a domain that's very popular, you're going to be getting spammy emails if your information is in the Who's It base. So having that protection allows your information to be concealed from the Who's It base and allows for all different other protections and security on your website. The last website platform is Shopify. And I only recommend Shopify for those who have a drop shipping component or if they're doing some type of physical products and having some add-on like an Etsy store. But Shopify is a little bit more of an advanced speed. They have some great themes, and it also is pretty affordable, but it requires some patience because there are a lot of plugins. If you're familiar with a WordPress, it's the same way. They have extra plugins that they have on the website that you have to put on there. But if you're doing a Wix or a Squarespace, all that is included on the platform itself. Next slide. Social media. This is the fun part. So, 4 big things when it comes to social media. First thing, you want to establish yourself as a leader. Show what you know. Because when you're first getting onto social media and you're trying to build your brand, you want to gain your audience's trust. You want them to know that not only do you know what you're talking about, but you also are a person that they can come to for their questions. They're a person that they can trust with their own needs with you. And by doing that is you showing not only through entertainment, but education and engagement on social media with your audience as a leader to show what you know. And that leads us into the second point of engaging with your audience. Invest in some tools that will help you easily to keep track of comments, messages, and feeds. If you are mainly operating on Facebook and Instagram, Meta Business Suite is a beautiful platform to start off. It's free 100%. Not only could you keep track of all those messages and comments and that feed, but you can also run your ads, schedule your posts ahead of time, and a whole, look at your analytics. It's absolutely wonderful. Meta, and I want to keep saying Facebook but Meta, because that encompasses the Facebook, Instagram, and Facebook Messenger. They've done such a great job putting together so many different tools that are right there for the business owners to use. And another reason that I mentioned about engaging with your audience, if you are on an Instagram or a Facebook, they offer lots of incentives, especially on Facebook, if you are building your business page the correct way. So make sure that if you are on there, you have your business pages and you aren't just using your personal. Please make a business page for your Instagram and for your Facebook. There are so many benefits to doing so, but always make sure that you're cross-referencing on your personal page because sometimes your personal page has the bigger audience, but make sure that your business is established separately from you as an entity. Even if you are your business, make sure you still have that business name because there are certain things that Meta is not going to allow you to do until you do that. The third thing, remain consistent. Continue to show up for your audience to establish that trust because, and I'm going to be very transparent. This is something that I, to this day, struggle with is consistency because I am a full-time stay-at-home mom and I am running a business and have a whole bunch of other things that I do. And sometimes showing up online is like the furthest thing from my mind. But the more that I have realized how much of a disservice it has done to my business because of the pockets of inconsistency, I understand the value of remaining consistent, and do not do your business a disservice by just popping in every now and then popping back out, because your audiences, how else are they going to get to know you if you're not establishing that trust? And by remaining consistent, that continues to cement that trust. And the last thing, keep your branding consistent. I mentioned this earlier about finding beautiful designs that we absolutely love on Canva, and we're just throwing them up on social media, but it makes the business look unprofessional. So, my advice when it comes to your social media, do yourself a favor. Create 2 to 3 templates within your branding guidelines, meaning they have your fonts and they have your colors. And we're going to talk in the next slide or two about branding pillars and social media pillars that you can use to go along with these templates. But create yourself at least 2 to 3 templates that you're going to reuse, but to put other different types of content to help with that establishing trust and credibility with your audience. I swear. Social media strategies. I knew it was next. So, Edna mentioned about AI being everywhere. And when I say it is everywhere, it's everywhere. I actually had to learn to embrace it myself, because I am very old school. I may not look it, but I am 32, and I am when I tell you I was on MySpace and watching my uncle with his Gateway 96 computer. I like to do things pen and paper, or very much like on a more level type thing, not on this fast pace that's happening with AI. However, I realize that there's things that I'm falling behind on, and there's only so many times in the day. So if you're not doing time management, things get away from you. So use AI, even if you think, oh my gosh, I don't want to be bothered with the computer. Use it to your advantage, because there are so many great things when it comes to especially Chat GPT. And I want to recommend that everybody invest $20 a month, buy the Chat GPT, open up all of those extra features, because in that $20, you can actually train your AI bot to talk just like your brand. Like, our AI actually knows. We have a whole entire channel dedicated to our AI bot called Retro Creative. And that ends up helping us when we're trying to brainstorm ideas and reels, and it talks just like us. How I did that was I told it, okay, this is my website. This is about our brand. These are our colors. Learn all this information and save it. And that way I was able to say, okay, these are my target audience, label it as this. And every time I created new content, I would say, hashtag whatever I had named that audience, use that as the target audience, and this is what I want you to do. So if you are unsure, though, let's say you have your target audience, you kind of know what their grievances are and how possibly your brand can help, but you're still a little stuck. Use that Chat GPT to help with content pillars and to generate some ideas about pain points that your audience might have. That way, when you're trying to put together your social media strategy, you will have a plethora of ideas to choose from, because ChatGPT can generate honestly as much as you tell it to. You could say, hey, give me 100 different content ideas, and it will give you a list of 100, as long as you're specific enough about what exactly you want. When you do that with the Chat GPT, use all of those different things that you have pulled. Specifically, you want to look for 2 to 3 consistent pillars, like, let's say, quotes or education of some kind. Let's say, with us, we love to educate and take our audience on a step by step as to how they can build their branding in a affordable way. So one of our main consistent pillars is our education. And every single Monday is an education day where we're talking about a specific subject that ends up being talked about throughout the whole week. That is where your templates will come in with those different days. Like, a conversation is always another great thing in terms of pillars, trying to engage with your audience, really get them to talk in those comments and really getting to know them. By doing all of this, putting it in a content calendar to keep track of your social media content, your blog topics, reels, all in one place. The Wilder Shop actually has a digital product, a social media calendar that you can use with Microsoft Excel. It's broken up into different columns. It actually has the count as to how many, because every single platform has a limit as to how many characters you can use. So that content calendar helps you keep track of that. But always make sure that you are planning your content ahead of time, because what if you get to a month where you have absolutely no time? If you have that content calendar, you can go back and access that information that you've already used. And you can actually, if you're running your analytics, as you should, you will know which posts have been doing well, and you can repost that content and create more traffic and more buzz. It's always great to have a content calendar so that you can repurpose information. And the last thing is to batch content. And with batching means doing multiple things, multiple of the same at the same time. So let's say, because videos are huge when it comes to social, especially when it comes to Facebook and Instagram. Reels actually do sometimes 2 to 3 times better than actual static images. So recording multiple videos at once ends up saving you a lot of time, because if you've run all of your different things through Chat GPT, you already know what your topics are going to be. You've started that content calendar. You've already written out, okay, this is what we're going to be talking about. And now you can record and batch everything so that as everything has been edited, it can already be scheduled, go out, and then you don't have to worry about it. Easy peasy. Next slide. So I want everybody to please screenshot this, because these are some helpful tools that will help for creation of content and automation in your business. These things are going to save you so much time when it comes to time management, especially when you put all of these things together and make sure that there is a streamline in place. And at the bottom, as you see, Zapier is where you can manage multiple of these tools all on the same platform. So like for creation, we have Canva and Adobe Express. For scheduling out content, we have Buffer. Later is actually one of my favorites. They have a very affordable plan. It's actually another $25 if I remember correctly. And you can connect to as many social media platforms as you want. They allow you to change all of your different social medias for the different channels. And it's always great to just schedule your stuff ahead of time, because then you can also pull your analytics from these schedulers. For cloud storage, Google Cloud. If you make a new Google account, you end up actually getting 15 free gigabytes off rip. So that's something that's absolutely amazing, something you don't even have to pay for. OneDrive is also another great cloud storage. It's for any type of device. So whether you have Android or for Apple, because with me, I actually go back and forth between both. So I love using OneDrive because it never misses a beat in terms of uploading. I never have any issues with trying to access from one device to another. Multi-link hosts, and multi-link hosts are always great to have, because if you're on multiple social medias, you have a specific lead magnet that you're trying to entice and get your audience to lead to, you can use those multi-link hosts websites to be able to categorize all your different links. And that purple icon is called Link Bio, LNK.bio, and the other is Linktree. For invoices, contracts, and forms, Dubsado, which is our personal favorite at the Wilder Shop, and Stripe. I absolutely love the two. They work very well together, especially if you're putting everything in Zapier and having everything streamlined to say, okay, once this contract has gone out and this person signs it, it triggers to go to this, and the payments and everything streamlined. And the last thing is the accounting, which is Honeybooks and QuickBooks. Honeybook and QuickBooks are amazing. And when I say as a solo entrepreneur, small team, it is essential to have a good accounting system in place, because you do not want to have to owe the IRS or have to go back and try to figure out where or what, when did you do this and how was that charged. QuickBooks and Honeybook does a great job with categorizing everything, especially if you set it up correctly. And both also have options where you can hire out people like accountants or prep tax preparers, I can say that word, that will allow you to make sure that you're checking all those boxes and you're crossing your T's and dotting your I's so that the IRS is not coming and knocking on your door. I think the last slide. Yes. So this is, and again, I'm so upset that it did all of this because it looked so beautiful when I did it earlier. But if you would like to connect with me, I provided my email. It's info@thewildershop.com. Or if you would like to visit our website, it is thewildershop.com. And I have also provided my link bio in that QR code. So please make sure to follow us on social media, subscribe to our weekly blog. And also, we have a newsletter, which is called The Thrifty Shop, where we provide tips and tricks and tools to business owners that can't necessarily afford the services to hire out. And that last thing that's also in that QR code are those digital downloads that I talked about. We've got a social media calendar, an analytics tracker, tools on how you need to figure out how often should you post, what time should you post, how to find that target audience, different things that we talked about today. There are digital downloads that are in our store to help with business owners. So please, please, please take advantage of them, check them out. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I love to help because that is what we're here to do. And if all of this is like, and you're still just like, you know what, it's a lot, I need someone to help run it, we're here too as well. So please feel free to contact us and work with the Wilder Shop. We would be so happy to help.
Well, that is awesome. So, I will tell you, I have been inconsistent.
Girl, you and me both.
I have been inconsistent and I have been throwing things up, but I came back to myself. I got back on track
Mhm.
and I
Yep.
stayed with my colors. So I was really excited when you said colors
I'm
and
proud of
little
you.
the fonts. I was excited. I was okay. I just got off track for a minute. I just got off,
Yeah,
but
I
I'm
mean,
back
and
on.
it happens. It happens, and it's
Yeah.
always good to just know, like, okay, because I know, especially when I struggle with the consistency thing, I had to learn, that mindset, that resilience of reminding myself, okay, I didn't do it today. I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm going to be able to do it tomorrow, and you just keep striving because
Yeah.
it's very easy to get in that like that victim mentality and getting in that hamster wheel of, okay, nope, I'm gonna wallow in this.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Because if you're an
Yep.
entrepreneur,
Exactly.
you gotta be resilient. You've gotta
Mhm.
adjust to that adaptability because stuff is gonna change. I mean,
Oh
it's
yeah.
as much
Absolutely.
as we try to do our day-to-days and have our daily operations as an entrepreneur, things are still unpredictable.
Yeah.
And it's
They
like
are.
if we
Yep.
can control what we can control that, and that'll give you a whole lot more peace of mind for those
Mhm.
things that are out of control.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you have any questions, if anybody has any questions, we're getting comments, just very good information, from YouTube, very good information. If anyone has any questions that's here, by all means, unmute yourself and, share your question. We're here for you. Um, so the floor is open.
Yes. Don't mind me, I'm drinking my water. I,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
went and
absolutely.
networked and made myself a banker friend. So it's always great to have, good people in your pocket. That's what I
Oh,
keep.
that's great. So we have a private chat from Amber. Great info, and thanks for saving me a lot of suffering in the future
You're welcome. You
with
are
that
so
Canva
welcome.
created logo.
And a great place to kind of like avoid some of that, because like the issue with Canva is their licensing with the images. So if you do one of my, and I'll put it in the chat, it's called Vecteezy. They have a very cheap plan. It's actually, they have I think I pay $15 a month with that one. And it is unlimited to all the vectors and images. You don't have to give like a, you know how like when you have to say, okay, this was by so and so, you don't have to do that
Yeah.
if you pay that pro. And
Right.
Vecteezy allows you to use any type of vectors, any type of illustrations, and use it so that you can trademark it because you have the rights and they give you that as
Oh,
you're
that's
downloading
nice.
that. Yeah,
That's nice.
so please like use those type of things. You know, Vecteezy is beautiful. Pexels is another great website. But there are plenty other places, even Adobe. Adobe for $29.99
Yeah.
a month will save you so much time because then you will have the rights and be able to use that stuff and can
Yeah.
trademark it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, this is great information. Well, great information for you. I was excited because I was like, okay, I did all that. I got that. So Lizelle says, great info, a lot to take in, but mind opening.
Absolutely.
It is, and I will tell you, we are available for you if you want a a session. On my part, it's 30 minutes free. Contact me. I didn't put my info up, but you can go to my website, which I will share with you, and you can go to ednawhite.com. It's so easy. And I gave you the wildershop.com.
Yep.
So you can go on her site and, you can ask us questions and help you get started moving to that actionable step. And we want to thank you all for being here today. Thank you. You could have been anywhere else, but you're here
Yes.
with us today. And we want to
And
thank
that
you for that.
shows how you've taken that initiative and that step to help building your business. So pat yourself on the back because
Yes.
that sometimes that's half the battle, especially when you're in a low
Yes.
place. It just, you did it and we are
Yeah.
very proud of you and you can continue
Yes.
to do it. So you're just,
Yes.
remember, you are not alone.
Yep.
We're all there, we're all doing the same steps, even if it's different for every business. We're all still
Absolutely.
going towards our goals. So we're here.
Keep it going. Keep it going. Well, thank you all very much for being here. And this brings us to the end. Again, remember that you can reach out to us at any time. And please come back. We'll be
Yes.
together again, once again, one time soon. All right. Have a great night. We'll talk to you all real soon. Bye for now.
Bye.